I am here today with Maschia Jackson, and Maschia knows a lot about KAA. She's going to tell us a little bit about that, but she has served as one of our nurses here at KAA for the last 3 years. And so, Maschia, just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got connected with KAA, your hobbies, where you're from, all that good stuff.
Well, my name is Maschia Jackson. I'm an LPN. I live in Joplin, Missouri, which is just right up the road. I'm a teacher. I'm an educator full-time at Crowder College, and then I nurse on the weekends and during the summer. I first came to camp as a camper back in the 90s. So I was a camper there, went there a couple of years, gave my life to Christ, got married, had kids, and then when my kids were old enough to come to camp, I didn't know if camp even still existed. And so I Googled, found Kids Across America, that it was still there and up and running. And then I saw over in the corner that they needed nurses, nurse volunteers. And so I was like, how amazing is that I get to go back to camp with my kids for the first time. So 3 years ago, I had a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old. And so they were both at KA1, and I was a nurse on 3. And so it was fun because we were separated, so they got the experience, but they were still mama was still there, so I still got to do that. And we've been going ever since. They both gave their lives to Christ that year. Ever since, we've been able to bring some students from Joplin down there, and so that has kind of grown. We were so excited for this year, but next year is going to be even more special. So
That's right. Next year will be even more special.
Yes.
And so you kind of faded out a little bit, but you were saying you came as a camper, and then
yes,
years later, as your children grew older, you were like, I need to find an experience for them.
Yes.
Right? And you looked
yes,
it up.
I looked it up when they were camp age. So when my youngest was 9 and my oldest was 11, I found camp. When they were camp age, I was like, I need something more than just the week-long, vacation Bible school that the local churches offered.
Yeah. And so you gave your life to the Lord at KAA.
Yes.
And both of your children gave their lives to the Lord.
Yes. And then my daughter last year, she actually got the I Am Third Award.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah. So very, very, very honored for her to receive that, and just a blessing to see not only my life changed by camp, but now I get to see how camp has changed my children's life. So it's just a family affair.
Yeah, and it's so good to hear those stories of how KAA has affected generations of a family.
Yes.
It's so cool. So tell us a little bit about your hobbies. Do you have any hobbies or passions?
So youth has always been my passion. I worked as a nurse aide in the hospital on pediatrics. Just hobbies, I guess. I love to write poetry. And just hang out. I'm a family-oriented person. I come from a small town, so there really isn't a lot of extra things to do here. We have one mall, so there's not a lot of extras, but I'm a big family person. We love to go to the lake. We love to take our family vacations and just interact and make memories with the kids. That's my passion.
That is so awesome. And I will tell you, KAA family, that last year was my first time serving as health services director. And Maschia, am I saying it right?
Yes.
Maschia, since she just lived up the road, she had said, if you need me at any time, just call me. And I called you about 4 or 5 times.
And we didn't mind.
She was such a big help, and we had a few experiences that we had to walk through, but God was faithful. And,
yes, He was.
And I'm so grateful for your faithfulness. So, Maschia, you've already told us how you got involved with KAA and how long you've been involved. What has been something that has been challenging to you as you have served at KAA?
I think I love to serve at camp. So to find a challenge is kind of hard because myself, I think I look at challenges a little bit different, and maybe people look at challenges different. The days are long. You wake up early, you go to bed late. So for some, that could be a challenge. And then just the devil shows up, so some people may see that as a challenge. But other than that, I don't really see, as far as camp, the challenges that come, you're equipped. I know that may sound crazy, but you're equipped. We have all the materials that we need right there. And then prayer and just community and just somebody standing there right beside you. I tell you, 4th of July last year could have been a challenge, you know, and anybody else looking at 4th of July last year would have saw that as a challenge. But when I tell you that God showed up and showed out, and every challenge was met with just every essential need that we needed, and it just made it work. And so at the end of the day, yeah, we were tired, but when I tell you, kids were like, they didn't even know what was going on, you know, and lives were changed and souls were saved. And so, yeah, you're going to find challenges, but every challenge that comes, you know, God is there and it gets solved before there's an issue. So I guess I don't really see it as a challenge.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it was, God was faithful. And,
yeah.
And just a little bit of insight, we had a concert going on and we had lots of kids having to run through the health center, and it was a lot. But again, you're right, God was.
Yeah.
And so what's something that's been a joy or a highlight for you serving at KAA?
Okay, there's tons. I could talk for hours about this, but what I love is, as a nurse, and you know, some of the other healthcare providers that come can attest to this. A lot of times when you're in healthcare, you know, you're focused on healthcare. You're focused on what you can do on this side. You know, a lot of times you can't pull out a Bible and be like, you know, I know you're going through this, but let me show you. Let me show you a man that can heal you. You know, let me show you somebody that's went through this before and look what God has done for them. And so when you have those youth come in there, and they may come in for just something simple, and you get to talking to them and you're like, hold up, let me show you something. You know, you may be going through this in your life, but let me show you this right here. Let me show you what Jesus did in this situation. Let me show you a man that can walk right there beside you through this. And so that's what I love, is the fact that even as healthcare workers, we're not in the cabins with them. We're not on the stage doing skits with them. You know, we're putting Band-Aids on and we're giving out the best water at camp, you know, and we get that time to interact with those children. And, you know, there's been times where kids have, at the end of camp, come in and given me hugs and wrote down their numbers and been like, I want to keep in touch with you, or what you said to me, you know, really touched me, because I think that every individual at camp has a purpose at camp, you know. And so even as a nurse, like placing that Band-Aid or giving that extra special bottle of water, we're there, and God is going to use us in just crazy ways. And just to see those play out is amazing. Just to see what God is doing and how he uses us throughout the summer in ways that you never would have thought, you know, possible. You think, oh, I'm going there for a week, I'm going to be passing out medicine, fixing bandages, you know, I might never get a chance to actually interact and have a moment with a camper, and you get them all the time. And so it's just amazing. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, what you just said reminded me of the scripture in Romans chapter 2, I think, where it says, you know, God extends his goodness, his kindness to draw us. And I think that the nurses and doctors in the health centers do that well, the helpers as well. The kindness that's shown to those campers, their hearts are softened because of the kindness of God. And so I see that in you. You do that so well.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So tell me now what a typical week is like for you.
Okay. So Sunday is busy. Sunday, but you know, Sunday is fun. Everybody's excited. Camp is happening. They're nervous. Everybody's nervous. You see the little nervous faces. You know, we check in. We make sure nobody has a temperature. We do head checks. We check in medications. We go to bed typically late. Sunday's a long day for us. We go to bed late because we need to make sure Monday morning that they have their meds ready, that we're set up and that we're ready to go. So we typically stay up a little bit later because after they all get checked in and then they go to do their activities and they do the cabin checks. And so we get a little extra inflow after that. So, and then plus you're kind of getting to know the people you're going to be with for the week. So you're kind of like filling everybody out too. But it gets done, you know, everything gets done. So Sunday, that's Sunday. Monday, you kind of as a nurse, I think you get into shift and you're like, okay, this is how my shift is going to go. So Monday's kind of like, this is how the week's going to go. You kind of fill out what works best. We have a system in place that works amazing, but even then you kind of tweak it. You know, every nurse kind of tweaks it their own way. And so you get that system going, and Tuesday goes even better. And then Wednesday comes. And I tell every nurse to wake up Wednesday a little bit more prayerful than any other day. Wednesday's crosstalk day. And Wednesday just seems to be the devil's day to try to come. He never wins, but he tries. And so Wednesdays just seem to be a little bit busier. Every week I've ever went, my Wednesdays have always been a bit busier because the devil knows. I feel like the devil knows something's coming, and so he tries. We have a lot of increased anxieties on Wednesdays, especially after crosstalk. Crosstalk, you might have a lot of increased anxieties, a lot of increased headaches, even some anxiety attacks that you have to talk through with them. And then Thursday is just a day of joy and peace. Thursdays are calm. What Thursdays are awesome. And there's just a peace.
Day.
Yes. And then every time you hear that bell ring, you know that God has won again. And so it's just amazing. And then Friday, your heart kind of breaks a bit because they leave you. You know, you prepare for them to leave. You start packing up. You know, you get to see their rewards and everything that they've done throughout the week. And then Saturday morning, we finish the final cleanup, make sure the station is clean, and then head home. And then, you know, throughout the week, all week long, we're cleaning. We're making sure things are sanitized. We have early morning wake ups and we go to bed late, but what I love about it is we get our flat on our back too. So we get naps, you know, and it's very important that the nurses take those naps. And then it's also important that we work as a team and allow those that want to go up to the PSM and do some of those things with the Kaleos, the Bible studies, and the praise and worship and stuff, that they get that too. Because not only is this a time for us to come and serve, it's a time, for some of them, it's a time that they need to be refreshed as well, you know. And so if it's available, we take our boat ride, you know, we do fun things. So not only are we serving, but we're learning. Like, I learned so much. If you just like sit back and watch God work through these young men and women, it's amazing how much you can learn from these men and women that pour out their souls daily at camp. But that's the typical. And then I forgot lots of stuff, but we have doctors visits that come. The doctors come daily if you need them. So, but yeah, that's it. And then all day long you have kids coming in, minor things. You do have some major things that happen, but nothing major to where you're not equipped. You know, the doctor, anytime I've ever had something major happen, I get on the phone, call the doctor, and they are there within minutes. So.
That's good. You said something about the bell ringing a while ago. What is that?
Yes. Okay, so what happens is on Wednesday night we have crosstalk, and that is when they just kind of reenact. They do some skits and reenact, and a lot of time the youth decide to give their life to Christ, which is an amazing thing. And then on Thursday is their public statement to declare it, and they go and they ring that bell to declare that they have made the choice to give their life to Christ. And it's just like, I don't even know. It's just the sound. When you hear that sound, just everything stops. I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it. It's just a child ringing a bell of freedom, a child ringing a bell of peace, a child ringing a bell that says, okay, like, I'm ready, you know? And it's just amazing. Like, it's just an amazing sound to hear. And I always work on K3, and so I just sit on my little rocking chair and rock back like an old woman on my rocking chair and just watch them praise and give praise as they ring that bell. And when I tell you, it is just something to see as these youth give their life to Christ. It's just amazing. I would come every day all summer just to hear that bell ring.
that is so cool. And you know what? And I tell you that the joy that I'm just thinking even now is that how God brought that full circle with you.
Yes.
You rang your bell.
I rang my bell and my babies rang theirs.
Your babies
Yes.
rang their bells.
Yes. And I got to go, you know, because that's how we are. We if we have children or something, we make sure that they're there for that. And so I got to go and watch both my babies ring their bells. So it was amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
You and your babies, and now you come back as a servant at KAA, serving.
And I love it. Yes.
And you play a part in other children ringing that bell as you show kindness to the
awesome
campers.
Yes.
It is awesome. And we at KAA are so grateful for you.
Oh, well, I tell you, I love it. I feel honored to it's like a honor just to be able to go. Like, oh, are they going to let me come back this year? You know, because it's just, when I tell you, when I explain to people camp, it's like, it's almost like Disney World, you know, it's just like this magical place. You can't explain it. I said, you just have to go. You just have to go and experience. It's like when you walk through those gates, it's just a whole different atmosphere. Like the Spirit of the Lord is everywhere you go is there. And like you just feel it.
You just said it. It is magical, but it's magical by way of the Holy Spirit.
It is. It's magical.
And so hopefully 2021, you and I will be back up on this hill together, showing the kids through the health center and listening for those bells to ring.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Lisa, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, all right, and then Chris he'll edit that out, and then real quickly. I'm gonna go through this quickly. I have those other questions about what's happening in your community with Corona.
Oh, okay.
And do you have a health tip for us?
Okay.
Yeah. And so, all right. Maschia and I are back again, and this time we're going to talk about Corona and a health tip. So, Maschia, how are you dealing with Corona? Are you on the front lines in any kind of way?
Okay. Yes, I am working actually at a long-term care facility in Arkansas. So I have elderly patients and rehab patients down there. We are still wearing our N95 mask the whole shift, so you don't get to take that off at all. We actively have COVID patients in our facility, and so we do head-to-toe PPE. So the minute you walk into the facility, we have a safe zone taped off. You have to put your mask on before you walk in, and then you're gowned up right there when you walk in. You're required to leave that on the whole time you're in the building. So the only time I get to pull my mask down to get a breath is when I go into the restroom by myself, or if I walk into the break room by myself. Our facility has so far only lost one patient to the COVID, and we have had 3 active employees with the COVID. So that's my frontline experience. At home, my children just yesterday, June 1st, started back with school activities. So my son plays football for Joplin, so he started his weight program yesterday. They're doing 6 feet apart. On their own water bottle. They have special entrances that they go in. No high-fiving, nothing like that. Summer school did start back. 15 children per classroom, same teacher all day. So that did start back in our community.
So you guys are back in the classroom for
We are back in the classroom. It just started yesterday. And like I said, Joplin, Missouri. So 15 students per classroom. They can't switch classrooms. They stay with the same teacher all day. And then they don't switch classrooms, so their food is brought to the classroom. They don't leave the classroom. So, you know, that's a new norm, but they're trying it out. Our town is now in phase 2. So we now can have a gathering up to 50 people. All of our stores are open. All of our restaurants are open. The restaurants were having only 6 people together at a table. Now it's up to 10 people together at a table. Still doing the social distancing. Masks are not required to be out in public. They're recommended, but you don't have to require them. Walmart is still closing early. All the stores are still closing early, and they're still limiting the number of people in. Our parks are still, or no, our parks are open now in phase 2, but our swimming pool will not open until the 15th of the month. So, and then with my children, we're still, I only allow like one of their friends over at a time. We're still making sure we hand wash. My son does play baseball, and baseball tournaments have opened up. So,
wow.
yeah, and with those, they're not limiting the amount of people that are allowed into the facility. We just make sure that we social distance within the facility. So, you know, I sit with my family, and then we 6 feet apart from everybody else.
Wow.
Yeah. And baseball is one of those sports where they're kind of social distance out in the field, and then the coach is very particular about when they're in the dugout to social distance. So,
Wow.
but it's still, COVID is still out there. We still have, like I said, we still have active cases, and we still have patients passing, but it is, the curve, I believe, is starting to fall. No, I wouldn't say fall. Let me not say fall, but
Decreasing.
decreasing. There you go.
Wow. I did not know that Joplin was open. And so today
Yes, Joplin.
Did they open up June 1st or?
June 1st is kind of when we went into phase 2. Okay. Yes. And then but here's the thing about Joplin, you have to remember, we're I think 60,000 people total. So we're not a huge city, so that kind of helps as well. You don't really have tons and tons of people anyway. So our hospitals yesterday also opened up where they can have visitors again, and they even stopped temperature checks at the door. Yeah, so you can go into So we'll see. I don't know if that was too lax. I feel like maybe that was a little too lax, but
oh my gosh.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. Down in Arkansas, the Arkansas is still pretty, as far as nursing homes anyway. Now, our nursing homes are still closed. Like my grandmother's in the nursing home. She still cannot come out. I still cannot go in. So our nursing facility, our elderly nursing homes are still closed.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. I did not know that.
Yep.
I said the negative twice. I said I did not know.
Yep.
Wow. So in thinking of all of that going on in Joplin,
yes,
what kind of advice or encouragement could you give us concerning Corona, or just any health tip you could share?
And I think it's just it's probably the health tip that everybody is saying. Wash, protect, and distance. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Wear a protective face covering. No matter if you're sick or not sick, you don't know who is sick or not sick. So just wearing that protective face covering when you're going to go in somewhere public it's a good precaution to have. I think it's going to be the new norm for a lot of people. When you go into Walmart or when you go into the grocery store, to see people with masks on, it's just a very protective thing. And then keep the 6 feet distance, that distance, and then the protecting. If we can continue to do that, the social distancing and the hand washing and the protecting, we can help get past this curve to where it could be. I think just with that alone, like even the things that the kids are doing, like not sharing bottled, water bottles, sanitizing things that we probably should have been doing all along. Like Walmart has always had the little hand wipes there, but how many of us really used the little hand wipes? You know what I mean? And so these are things that we should have been doing all along. We should have really been doing our hand washing all along. As nurses, we wash our hands all the time. It's just habit. And so if everybody did that, it could help. If you feel sick, if you have the temperature, the new thing now that on the questionnaire that you'll find is not only if you have the temperature, but if you have a loss of taste. So if you have a loss of taste, if you have a headache, if you have nausea, of course, if you have the scratchy throat or shortness of breath, those are all signs, because a lot of times people may not have the temperature or may feel well, but things might not taste right. You could be active and not know it. And so just those things, just make sure that you're healthy to keep others healthy. Don't be selfish. This is a time not to be selfish. You know, a lot of people are like even our cases that we got at work, they were brought into the facility by workers. You know what I mean? And so as an employee, I have to be like, okay, I can't be selfish when I'm not at work. I can't just go and live my life and do what I want to do and not protect myself, because I could harm people when I go to work as a nurse. And so this is the time just to love on your neighbors and just to think of others, put others before yourself, like the things that your mom has taught you. Okay, like that, like treat others how you want to be treated. That's what we have to do in society now, is, you know, just look out for the little man, look out for those that can't look out for themselves. You know, these elderly people, the people who are at risk, you know, people that are asthmatic, children now we know are being affected. And so they can't, you know, these kids can't tell their parents don't go anywhere. So just if we can protect the person next to us by doing simple things, social distancing, wear a mask, and hand wash. Those are the big things that I would tell you. I wouldn't recommend, like some people, the quarantine, we have to be careful blocking ourselves off, you know. I tell my patients that, I tell my friends that we can't just isolate ourselves in the house, because when we isolate, a lot of times people that isolate not only isolate themselves from humans, but then they isolate themselves from God as well. And so that's a big thing, you know, don't isolate yourself. It's easy though. It's easy when we're like, quarantine, stay inside, you know, to isolate. But isolation is a dangerous thing. Mental health is a big thing right now, you know, with people being inside. So check on, you haven't heard from somebody in a while, don't just assume they're isolating, you know, give them a call, check on them, go knock on their door and stay 6 feet back. So,
yeah, that's good.
So those are things to remember from my nursey side.
That's your nursey side. We appreciate that health tip, and it is a good thing to remember. Putting others first. I love the verse in Philippians where it says, "Don't look out for your own interests, but look out for the interests of others." And that's pretty much what you were saying. We need to look out for the interests of others, and be careful and be safe.
Yes.
We don't know. COVID.
We don't know.
Still a lot we don't know, and so we are learning.
Yes, we are.
Yes, and so Maschia, thank you so much for sharing what's going on in your community. Things I didn't even know. And you're what, an hour and a half from here?
Yep. We're about 75 or 80 miles.
Okay.
We're just up the road and we're open.
All right. Okay, girlfriend.
All right.
So good to share with you and have you share with our KAA family. Maschia.
Yes.
Maschia Jackson.
Yes.
Thank you, Maschia.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.